Hey there, Careblazer. For those of you who have been watching me for a while, you know that a lot of my video topics are focused on how you, the Careblazer, can deal with those difficult moments, how you can handle the frustration of your loved one constantly repeating themselves, or doing things that make things more difficult for you, or saying things to you that are really hurtful. But in today's video, I want to switch the focus a little bit, and I want to talk about what you can do if your loved one is somebody who's in the more mild stages of the disease, to the point where they have awareness of their difficulties, and they might get frustrated or really sad when they know that they're not doing something the right way, or they're not figuring something out, or they can't find the right word that they're looking for. Now, if you haven't been watching my videos before and you're new here, that's okay, welcome. If you want to make sure that you don't miss out on future videos, then just hit the red subscribe button on your screen. It's completely free. It'll just make sure that you get alerted whenever I put out a new video or an announcement. I'd love to have you. So if you've ever noticed your loved one has gotten frustrated when they've tried to do something and were not able to do it, or they've tried to think of something and they could not think of it, or they realize they forgot something. If you've ever noticed your loved one get upset or sad about those situations, then I think this video can help you. I'm not only going to talk about how to cope and respond to your loved one when they're feeling upset and disappointed by those situations. I'm going to talk about a way you could prevent or hopefully reduce those situations from occurring in the first place. So let's get started. As I've talked about in past videos, it's quite common for people with dementia to not even realize they have problems. They have something called anosognosia. As a caregiver, you might feel like it's denial, but that doesn't happen in every case. In some cases, especially in the mild cases, the loved one with dementia is aware that something is wrong, and it can be quite scary for them. It can be heartbreaking to watch your independent, strong, successful person in your life all of a sudden struggle with basic tasks that you and I take for granted. We can put on our shoes and tie them and dress ourselves and remember our children's names and our loved ones' names, right? And it can be really difficult when we start to see somebody who's done fine the majority of their life all of a sudden struggle with these basic tasks. So let's talk about how you can respond in those moments. And the way you respond is largely going to be based on your personality as well as the personality of your loved one with dementia. But on a very basic level, Careblazer, comfort them. Let them know it's okay. Let them know you're there to help them. Basic compassion and care can go a long way. The other thing you can do is try to normalize what they're going through so that they don't quite feel so bad about it. We've all forgotten where we put our keys, or maybe where we parked in the parking lot, or forgotten a name of somebody from time to time, right? So it's okay just to let them know, oh, that happens to me too. Another way to approach a situation, depending on your personality and in your loved one's personality, if it feels like a good fit, is to make light of the situation. Saying things like, it's amazing we've made it this far, huh, Mom? Or, you keep me on track and I'll do the same for you. Again, it's based on your own comfort level. It's based on the relationship you have with your loved one and their personality. And finally, another way you can respond to these types of situations is just to be completely honest and real. You can just say simply, this must be so frustrating. Or, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I wish things were different. Now, let's move into what you can do to try to help prevent these episodes from occurring in the first place. What can you do to try to reduce the number of times or reduce how often your loved one is getting really upset that they're not remembering something or that they're no longer able to do something? As you care for your loved one with dementia, you are going to get really good at being able to observe them and even be able to predict the way that they're going to behave. So if you're noticing that your loved one's in a conversation and they're in the middle of a sentence and all of a sudden they can't remember a word or a name of a person that they're trying to think of in that sentence, you can just simply fill in the blank and let them continue on with the sentence. You don't need to make a big deal about it or highlight it. Just kind of naturally, oh, Jim, oh yeah, and then let them go on. So if you notice your loved one gets really upset when they can't think of a word, this is a good approach to use. If your loved one is trying to open a jar or something, rather than letting them continue to struggle with it because you know that they get really frustrated when they can't do it, or you're noticing that they're starting to have frustration build, you can just simply lean on over and say, that jar gave me difficulty earlier today. Or man, that's a really tough one for me too. Or I had a hard time with that as well. And just lean over and do it. You don't have to ask them, do you want me to help? Or here, let me help. You can just kind of lean in and do that. Even better approaches would be something like if your loved one was starting to have difficulty tying their shoes, for example, you can just simply go out, buy them a new pair of slip-on shoes or a new pair of Velcro shoes, put them in the place of the other shoes and just say, hey, I saw these, they were on sale. I figured you could use a nice new pair of shoes. Or something to that effect. You don't have to say, I noticed you were having trouble with your shoelaces, so I got you these shoes that don't have shoelaces. Just very naturally, in a respectful way that still keeps their dignity, find a way to minimize the chances of that frustration ever happening again, right? So what you're doing, Careblazer, is you're looking at where in your loved one's life do they tend to become frustrated, do they have difficulty, and how can you minimize that from happening? Now, I have to say, these recommendations in this video is for Careblazers who are noticing that their loved ones are getting really frustrated in situations where they're no longer able to do certain things or remember certain things. It's for the situations where your loved one's getting really sad or depressed when they notice that they can't do these things anymore. I am not saying to jump in and offer your help and to fill in your loved one's words whenever they struggle. For some people with dementia, they want to try it for a while. They're not getting frustrated or upset when it takes them 2 minutes to tie a shoelace. For them, they are going about it and it's okay. They're not getting frustrated. In those cases, it's okay to let them continue doing it. It's okay to let them think for a while on that word that they want to come to before they finally remember it or before they finally say, oh, whatever, and move on with the sentence, right? Sometimes if you try to fill in the blanks or try to help them and they don't want the help, that will cause anger and frustration. So I just want to be clear that you're recognizing the difference between somebody who is getting really sad and frustrated that it's not coming to them and somebody who is okay with things taking a long time or with things not coming to their mind easily, and they are okay with that. They don't want you to step in and offer your help. In fact, that will make it worse. I hope you can see the difference in that. So what I really want to encourage you to do in terms of trying to reduce the situations that cause a lot of frustration for your loved one is to try to think ahead of time. What are those situations that's making life difficult for my loved one? How can I intervene so that that doesn't become an issue anymore? So if your loved one's having a really hard time cutting the meat on their plate at dinner time and you're watching them struggle, is it possible that as you prepare dinner, you just cut up everybody's meat before it even goes on the table? You're not highlighting the fact that they can't do it anymore, and you're not, singling them out when everybody's at the dinner table and they're struggling, and then you're leaning over and cutting it for them in the moment, right? So are there ways that you can make life easier for them without calling a lot of attention to it to try to help maintain their dignity and for them not to feel like all of these changes are happening because they're struggling? Just get creative with it. Think about how you might be able to apply this to their life. Very basic level, Careblazer, you're looking to comfort them and calm them when they're starting to feel really frustrated with their difficulties, and you're just looking for those very early warning signs. What are the signs your loved one's showing before they start to get really upset or really frustrated about their situation. Pay attention to them, observe them, and then find a way to intervene early in that process. Careblazer, I'm sorry you're in this situation. I'm sorry your loved one has this disease that's so very difficult many times, but I'm happy that you're here on this journey. I'm happy that we can kind of go through this difficult time together. I'm going to be back with another video next week. In the meantime, if you have any topics or questions you'd like to see me address on a future video, all you have to do is leave them in a comment below, and I'll be back next week. Bye. Welcome back, Careblazer. In today's video, I want to... Hey there, video.